Public reverse engineering. Media reports. May 3rd, 2020. International 5G Tower Burning Day. 5G towers set on fire because of a conspiracy theory. Following the UK, 5G towers began to be destroyed in the Netherlands. Auckland's 5G cell towers are burned to the ground. The movement to bring 5G technology to the public plane was gaining momentum. Under the influence of objective factors, three types of technology assemblers were formed. Theoretical developers worked to create a worldwide public shortwave connection without base stations. From the technologies that the dark forces distributed under the name 5G and kept closed from society, developers took those features that could be useful for their shortwave development. The second type of researchers was reverse engineers who, based on the obtained 5G stations, restored 5G technologies and placed them in the public domain. The third type of assemblers could be called those who found channels for accessing 5G documentation from different manufacturers. Researchers' data is stored in a distributed manner with at least 490 repositories for each document all over the Earth. Each of the repositories is supported by a separate community on the ancestral or neighbor basis. Various media are used for information. There are even libraries on clay tablets as on time-tested material. Scorched signs with information are stored in the ground. A large number of images are used for compact recordings. Each individual interacting group operates independently. Each member of such a cell can create a new working cell if necessary. Among developers of technologies for an alive society, there is an unwritten rule not to develop communication systems based on base stations, but only those that do not require any base station, where only subscriber transceivers are used. Dashen scanned the news feed. The wave is slowly coming, he thought. On the table in front of him lay the transmitter of one of the mobile phone towers that had been reported on the news, disassembled to the smallest detail. No, it didn't burn down. Arson was arranged to hide the loss of the transmitter. He was alone in the house now. Jenny, a young woman, another member of their cell, brought this here. Her job was to analyze all this, photograph it, describe it in detail, and make a clear report. This report will be distributed to 490 locations across the Earth for safe storage through many caring adult Earthlings. Each storage point will apply its own information storage technology. Who will write on paper? Who will carve stones? Who will burn clay tablets? The people in every place are skilled and know their job perfectly. These are alive people. In their cell, where the participants were in contact with each other, there was also Ilko, a young man of about 25, and Adaeza, a beautiful dark-skinned young woman. After Dashen submitted the report, the report became available to the World Public Technology Bank and accordingly to each National Center for Technology Research, if any were already established in each individual country. It should be clarified that right now there was a process of formation and development of the World Public Technology Bank in which every single Earthman could take any technology available there and comprehensively study it for society, for usefulness. National open centers for technological research have now also been established in each national state. After their group published a description report, they were faced with the task of reverse engineering the device and trying to reproduce its operation. The matter of public research on the principle of 5G operation, the man-made and social impact of 5G on society, and the feasibility of its implementation was gradually moving forward. But this was only part of an even bigger job, a job that would enable every Earthman to communicate directly with the person he or she needed directly, without the mediation of base station, an all-Earth shortwave communication system. ADAS had previously worked for some time on the development of the theory of a shortwave communication system and even had some success. But the desire for improvement led her to reverse engineering. Her extensive work experience gave her an advantage, and so she was quickly able to organize a reverse engineering cell. Ilko's previous specialization was a process engineer for the production of radio components. Therefore, his task in this work cell was to study what technologies were used in the production of 5G transceiver data and make recommendations on how to replace them if it is impossible to fully copy them. Blonde Jenny, like each of their four, also had her own special background. Previously, she worked in the heart of the design bureau of one of the leaders in the production of modern electronics. And many drains of the know-how of closed technologies of predatory corporations were the work of her hands and head. Her knowledge of many models of 5G antennas allowed her to accurately find them among dozens of others installed on communication towers or disguised as cacti in the Mexican deserts or as some interior details in restaurants and other places. A special feature of the group, like many others, was constant mobility. This gave them a huge extra chance to hold out longer until they were exposed by the dark forces. They always kept in personal contact with each other without any technical means. So this time the place of their meeting was the intersection of hiking trails high in the mountains, where the ubiquitous, in more accessible places punitive bodies of the monstrous state machine, which pretended to be kind and such that it cares for the good of people, did not think of or could not look. But people have already grown up, and they became adults who do not need guardianship, but decide for themselves what business to devote the alive life given to them by the universal creator. And the warm smile of his fellow worker who drinks hot tea boiled on a homemade burner with you weighs immeasurably more than all the dead gifts that the system tries to seduce you with, the only true goal of which is to make you passive, flabby, to extinguish the love of a real life. Such rare but more or less regular meetings were as necessary as air. They gave meaning to all these tense, anxious, difficult events with which the rest of the days of their lives were oversaturated. Previous task completed. Let's move on to the next one. A quiet phrase was heard.